And welcome back. In the next phase of our modelling, we need to create the wheel housing within the wing. That's the part where the undercarriage resides whilst the aircraft is in flight. Now, in previous versions of Max, there was a compound object known as Boolean, which used algorithms to reshape various pieces of geometry. Now, I'm not going to fry your brain with this one, but Boolean was something that serious modelers would avoid at all costs, simply because it was unstable, unpredictable, and you could no longer model the resulting geometry without having to manually subdivide the Boolean results into quadrilateral faces, which tended to negate using Boolean in the first place. Let me show you an example. You'll notice here that I have various pieces of geometry. I have a box, a tube or a cylinder, a cone and a sphere. What I want to do in this quick demonstration is remove the part of the cylinder which intersects with the box here. Now I can do this with Boolean. We find Boolean in compound objects. So there we are, compound objects, and there is Boolean. Now I have the box selected already, so it's got box, and that is operand A, and what I want to do is pick operand B. So I'm pressing that button there, and I pop over here, cylinder, press that, and there you can see it's removed that part of the geometry which intersects with the box, and that's great. And if I don't want to modify that any further, fine. But let's say I did want to modify it a bit further. Let's say I wanted to apply a bit of a turbo smooth. Okay, let's pop into here, and now let's apply a turbo smooth. As you can see, there's a lot of deformation. Let me just remove turbo smooth for a moment, right, and hit F4. If we have a look around, we can see that there is no real supporting subdivisions that would allow me to successfully model this further. Therefore, I would have to manually implement those subdivisions by collapsing this and converting it to an editable poly, and then popping into, say, vertex, popping down to our cut tool, and creating those subdivisions. Now, having said that, Boolean is a tool which showed great potential, and I think that potential is being realized with the introduction of Pro Boolean, and that can be found in compound objects down here, Pro Boolean, and we're going to have a look at this one. Now I must admit I'm not all that genned up on it, but having played around with it for a bit, I think it does now start to show promise. So I'll reset this scene and we'll come back to this. Let's start by selecting the box. This will be operand A. Up to compound objects, and here we go, Pro Boolean. Now I just want to expand our panels here, so if I left click with my mouse button, drag that across again, you can see that I'm opening up various additional windows, and that makes it easier for us to see what we're doing. Okay, so I've selected the box, and here we can see that it's been selected box 01, and we also see it in a list down here. It starts off with a number 0 union box 1. At the moment we've got our parameters, our operations set to subtraction, and if I press start picking, now I can pick our other pieces of geometry. Alright, I'm going to start with cylinder 01. So that became basically operand B. Now with the old Boolean, that's the only operand I could have chosen. But with the new Pro Boolean, well, I can pick additional pieces of geometry so long as that is selected. So I'm going to pop over, select the cone, and there we go, select the sphere. And as I've done so, those pieces of geometry have come up in the list down here. Right, now we can play around with this all day long until our heart's content. Let's say I didn't want the sphere to be subtracted from our operand A. I wanted it as a union. Okay, and then change operation, and there we go, it's shown that. And all this is brilliant, but what really does it for me is the advanced options. Select this and all of a sudden the world of Boolean changes. Updates, I'm just going to set this to manually, so that means any changes that I make once I press update, I'm having to do it manually. Now we've got two sections, decimation and, well, three sections actually. Decimation, which is a percentage of, and quadrilateral tessellation. Now decimation, all that really means is if I press F4 we can see our faces there. Let's say I wanted to reduce those faces by 20%. So let's pop that up. Would have been easier typing it in to 20% and say update. So it's reduced the number of polygons that we have by 20%. If we took it to 40%, there we can see it's reduced it by 40%. Let's look at the quadrilateral tessellations. Make quadrilaterals. Now I've got it set at 3% at the moment. Let's take that up to say something like 10%. There we go. It now starts putting in the faces for the quadrilaterals, and that saves me from actually having to do it manually. Now that means that I should be able to apply, if we convert this to an editable poly, let's just try it, convert to editable poly. Now if I apply a turbo smooth, there you can see it hasn't collapsed. As I've already mentioned, I don't really want to fry your brains with this one, but I did think it was important that you did know it was here and that we will be using it at various stages during our modelling. It's here, have a play around with it yourself, see what you think. Okay, I'm going to bring this session to a close, and in the next one we will get on with creating the undercarriage in the wing. Okay, I'll catch you then.